When you are in your college, that's the best time for you to start up because the opportunity cost is nothing but just maybe the rest of the time in which you are, let's say, partying. As someone who has not raised funds for my venture and has been able to successfully, sustainably scale it as well, I want to communicate that not all ventures require funding. For a startup, there is no one blueprint. The path that I've taken could be completely different than Milan's, and we both could reach the final stage as well. And if I take a step back, I think startups in India are getting popularized for all the good reasons. Government has a role to play, and mainstream media channels or shows like Shark Tank as well. But in that journey of popularizing startup, we are ending up cluttering the entire ecosystem, confusing a lot of people with the heavy terms like funding, etc. as well. So there are 2 points that I may want to add upon. Number one is we need to de-risk starting up. When people say that startup requires a lot of courage or startup requires a lot of brave people, can we really make the system scientific? I am also someone who started my first venture, Global Governance Initiative, in my college. When you are in your college, that's the best time for you to start up because the opportunity cost is nothing but just maybe the rest of the time in which you are, let's say, partying. Second, about funding, an aspect that we were also discussing. I think once again, funding is extremely popularized in the context it may not be even needed. For example, if we divide the ecosystem of startups in B2B versus B2C, typically in B2C, it is winner takes all market. And many a times you might require external funding to scale your venture. But many a times in B2B market, you may not need this as well. Once again, this is not a global answer. There are outliers like Zero that's B2C. They haven't raised their funds, etc. As someone who has not raised funds for my venture and has been able to successfully, sustainably scale it as well, I want to communicate that not all ventures require funding. Tomorrow, if you want to start, let's say, a tourism business or a sustainability business, you may not need the initial seed venture for you to start. So I wonder and worry that in that narrative of angel funding, VC funding, are we setting wrong narrative for the audience or for our next gen as well? Certain ventures require funding, like we discussed. Maybe you need to set up a solar venture or a defense tech, but certain ventures absolutely do not require funding. If we really go back to how we all evolved as Homo sapiens, there used to be barter system. If you are doing farming, I am growing apples, maybe another person can provide you another commodity. All of them individually were entrepreneurs. There was specialization of skills that was taking place. And that's why most of the people were happy as well. If we look at a trend in our human society, we are becoming more and more unhappy because we are continuously working 12-13 hours every day for others. An entrepreneur has skin in the game to maybe work 12-13 hours every day. I do 12-13 hours every day, but I choose to. Why should I make my employee work 12-13 hours every day? What we need to talk about entrepreneurship is self-sustained small venture may not be a unicorn. Unicorns are celebrated and kudos to them. We need them. They employ thousands and lakhs of employees. But can we change the narrative and make a lot of small ventures so that it ties to our happiness index in the society as well?